All right. So the next section, or excuse me, the next organizational pattern that you could do is the problem solution organization. So rather than using, oh geez, rather than using this cause and effect in my essay, rather than using the bing bang bongo, I can use this problem and solution. So this is what my thesis would look like for the problem and solution or thesis statement, or excuse me, problem solution organizational pattern. Goodness. When I was diagnosed with diabetes, I faced what seemed like an insurmountable feat to ensure my health. So you'll notice that this lists a very clear problem. So I was diagnosed with diabetes, and so then I became kind of overwhelmed. It seemed difficult to manage. So that's the problem. Then I identify. However, notice how that transition is there. So I'm about to tell you something that's different. However, my grandmother helped me understand that I can face any adversity concerning my disease. So that's notice how the problem is listed here in yellow. And then I use a transition to identify what the solution would be. So I felt overwhelmed by my health problems. My grandmother helped me address that. So what does that look like? The first paragraph would be, I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 4 years old, creating a lot of anxiety about my health when I was young. Actually, I should probably have made that yellow. This is the problem. All right, so I have an entire paragraph about the problem. Okay, then I transition into this idea of like what's needed in order to solve that problem. Okay, then I transition into how my grandmother, it was the solution. So here it goes problem, the need, what I needed, how my grandmother supplied that solution. Problem, potential solution, actual solution, right? And so that is one way that I could organize this. And so here, my commentary for here would be why it's such a, so my commentary equals why the problem was so bad. So the anxiety that I had, the problems that I had with my health, and then the commentary here would be why a role model would be helpful. So I'm going to talk about the need for a role model, but my commentary would describe like why the role model would be helpful. And then the commentary here would be importance of grandmother's actions in solving the problem. My gosh, hate the fact that it's not big enough. But so the commentary would be different in each one, and notice how they all build on each other. This is the problem. My commentary would say why the problem was such a bad thing. Then I'd talk about what I needed and why that thing that I needed would be so helpful. And then finally what my grandmother provided me, and then the commentary would be the importance of my grandmother's actions. So the evidence here would be actually proving why this would be such a problem. I was 4 years old, so I was stressed out. And because I was so young, I didn't know, and I was always scared about what I could potentially be doing. And frankly, my parents didn't know what to do either, and so it was equally stressful for them. I was young. I didn't know how to take care of myself. I mean, I could barely dress myself in the morning, let alone taking care of my own health. Then the role model would be places when I needed a role model. Where were times in my life where it was problematic that I didn't have someone to help me? And then my commentary would explain why the role model would be so beneficial. And then finally, what did my grandmother do? And then that would be my evidence, and then the commentary would be the importance of grandmother's actions, right? So why the fact that my grandmother talked to me about her diagnosis with polio, why would that be so beneficial to solving the problem? So let's take a look at benefits or potential drawbacks of the problem and solution essay. organizational pattern. So one of the benefits is that, make this a little bigger, totally easy to organize. So you start with a problem, then you go to potential solution, and then solution, right? The evidence here, or the other benefit is that evidence is easy to gather, right? So prove the problem, express the importance of solution, and how solution came about, right? Came about or something like that. So the benefits are actually pretty nice. The problem, however, is, oops, new. What if I don't have a problem? Like, what if I didn't, like, the person impacted me, but I didn't have a problem that they helped me with. They just showed me what it was to be a good person, or they just showed me what it meant to have strength. Like, I didn't have a problem. So this might not work for you if the person that you're talking about didn't have an impact on you and to develop to solve a problem that you were faced with. And not everybody does. So, like, don't force it if it doesn't work. Um, the I'm trying to think if there's another well, again, pay close attention to commentary. So again, you got to make sure that your commentary relates very clearly to what your topic sentence is trying to say. So, I mean, the problem solution paragraph, or excuse me, the problem solution organizational pattern is really nice, but you've got to have a specific, first of all, you've got to have a problem that somebody helped you solve, and then you have to make sure that your commentary isn't repetitive, much like the previous one with cause and effect. So, um, let's take a look at the next organizational pattern. So this would be compare and contrast. So compare and contrast is when you kind of like, compare and contrast would be when it's kind of like life before and life after. Um, or just like, what is the difference that someone has made, or the impact that they have made. So let's take a look at what this looks like in my thesis that I would have written, right? So while others may falter when faced with difficulty, okay, that's one. My grandmother's actions through great adversity demonstrates why she is my model of strength. All right, so you'll notice here that I am comparing and contrasting others with my grandmother. Okay, so the first paragraph that I have here is about others, right? So how others might respond to difficulty, right? And I could have this as examples, I could have this as potential, like I could have this with me, I could have this with other people that I've seen. So the first paragraph, or the first section, is going to be about how others might respond to difficulty. Then I've got my second paragraph, my grandmother and how she maintained her own strength when she struggled. So again, the difference between the two. This is other people. This is Majima. I don't know why this is not going away. But it should say paragraph 3, how she impacted me. Let's take a look here. Yep. Get out. Oh my goodness. How this strength impacted me. So how it impacted me. This would be why this is important. So I've got what others would do, what my grandmother would do. So I'm comparing and contrasting, showing what she did differently than others, and then my final body paragraph would be how that impacted me. Okay, so I'm clearly comparing and contrasting what my grandmother does with as opposed to other people. So what would be the benefit of this? Well, it really accentuates um, the person and their um, what makes them stand out. What am I trying to say? And what makes them stand out. So, like, if I want to show how different my grandmother is from other people, this would be the one that I want to use because I want people to see how unique, how important she is compared to other people. Um, so a potential drawback for this is that, again, commentary in third paragraph could be repetitive. So remember, the third body paragraph would be how the difference in my grandmother has really impacted me. That might be repetitive to what I was saying in my previous paragraph, like the difference of my grandmother, or not the difference of my grandmother, but like, let me show you what that looks like, why that would be an issue. So if I'm talking about my grandmother maintained her strength when she struggled, it might be easy for me to dip into what she how that impacted me when really that's in my third body paragraph. And so it would be easy to potentially um become repetitive with that idea. So you would be careful to make sure that your commentary is separated between these two. Why is it important to show that my grandmother, she maintained her strength? Well, there, excuse me, the commentary here could be, let me put this, commentary equals why this shows grandma is strong. So then my commentary here, importance of GMA. So that would be my commentary. So rather than repeating them and saying like, yeah, this is what she did and that's why she's important, this here I'm just talking about why that means she's strong. So other people did this is what my grandma did, and look, she's strong. Then I can talk about how that strength impacted me. So then I could say like, when she did this is what it did to me and helped me understand about strength. But again, it can be rough and it could be repetitive if you're not careful. Okay, so again, great organizational pattern. You just need to think critically about how you're going to use that. So then I've got one more video, and it's talking about order of importance and then the definition organization.